From the beginning of this series, I always planned on transforming this village into a massive city, and today is finally the day that we get started. In this episode, we tackle the main entrance gatehouse thing, which actually ended up being way larger than I was expecting, and we also build up the first couple of buildings within the city itself. I plan on making this city absolutely massive. Like, I want to have its own, like, shopping districts, I want to have, like, housing districts, all that fun stuff. I want this to be a very, very large city. So if you want to see how far I actually get into building this thing in hardcore Minecraft, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button down below if you're not already subscribed. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoy. Now, obviously, if I want to put a city here, I have to get rid of the existing village. So I think that's going to be the first thing I do today. We're going to take down all of these buildings and the structures associated with the village. And then after that, I would like to terraform over here because this terrain is really awkward looking. I always feel kind of bad destroying villages, but let's get started taking this one down. Now that the village has been reduced to these 5 shulker boxes, it's time to start working on the surrounding terrain because it looks really bad. I want to get rid of all of these pathways, and I also just want to smooth out the terrain in general. I kind of just want to give myself a completely blank slate to begin this project. That way it'll be far easier for me to design, you know, where the pathways are going to go and where the buildings are going to go and all that fun stuff. So let me go grab a butt ton of dirt and grass, and we can start shaping out this area. This took way longer than I was expecting, but we do have the terrain looking a little bit better now. This spot over here still looks kind of weird. I don't really know what I want to do with this section. It's kind of like a nice natural cliff right now, so I might kind of leave it this way and decorate it kind of like we did over here, like around the bridge area in Shramyland. I'll decide on that later though. Originally I was going to have the city start like right here, but I think I'm gonna move it over this way more. So I'm just gonna have this path wind this way a little bit more, and then we will actually start the city probably like right here, about where I'm standing now. Just for the time being then, I'm gonna put a very tentative path block pathway over in this direction. There's one more thing though I would like to build kind of in this area before we start working on the gatehouse, and that is a stable. Because if you think about it, right, if you're just traveling through this area and you're visiting the city, you'd want to have a place to, you know, kind of park your horses. So I think having a stable right outside the gatehouse makes a ton of sense. It's not going to be a massive size stable, but I do need to go gather some more spruce wood because I think I have like 12 in my storage room. I have just over 4 stacks of stripped spruce logs now, so this should be plenty. The rest of this stuff here I was able just to gather from my storage room. So we got some oak, we got some deep slate stuff, and some other random materials in this other shulker box. I'm gonna bring in some barrels here for the bottom of these pillars. And then we'll use some spruce and some oak and stuff to fill them out. I'm thinking this size is probably pretty good. So let me grab a little bit of stripped spruce and oak logs, and let's finish off these pillars. Let's go up 4 more on all these sides, and I'm also going to be connecting these across. Now let's go ahead and throw some stairs and trap doors over here. It's looking pretty standard, I guess I could say. This is kind of what I do for a lot of my builds here, as you guys should probably all know by now. But let's move on to the roof. And have the same roof pattern that we have on the other houses here. So we're just gonna slab up to the middle with these cobbled deep slate slabs. Then the inside of the roof here will be a nice mix of deep slate tiles and deep slate brick slabs. And where occasionally we're gonna break in some tuff, some moss, and some mossy cobblestone. I was messing around for a little while to try to find an interior that I liked, and I settled on this. Now it's not very decorated. We have to go add some, you know, finishing touches to this build. But this is the layout. We have 3 different sections where we can actually have some horses, and we have an area in front of where the horses are going to be, where we can throw some chests or some hay and just other decoration blocks. Next up then, I would like to add some windows to this build, and I'd also like to terraform the surrounding area, just so this thing actually fits in, and it doesn't look like it's just inside the ground over here. So let me go put the final touches on this build, and I'll be right back. Yo, are you good, my man? Is it like this bush? That just doesn't make sense to you? Like, I don't... Alright, well. I just finished putting the final details on the stables building, and I also continued the path over in this direction, and it now leads to this area, which is where the city is going to begin. But a quick look at the stables. We have some greenery blocks, Got a bunch of leaves, got a bunch of other plants and stuff. And I really like this design. Let me actually move it though, because it's not connected to the roof. But I like this design. If you just put a chain like that, then you put a flower pot underneath it, and then a spruce sapling in the flower pot, it kind of looks like it's being held up, and it's like a little hanging plant. There is like a really small gap there that it isn't connected, but it looks good enough at like a quick glance. So I like it quite a bit. I used it in this build a couple times. Anyway though, let's now move over here, where we will be building up the gatehouse. My idea for this gatehouse is I would like 2 rather large towers on either side, and then maybe like a roofed bridge kind of house thing connecting it in between. I want to have a gradient from deep slate to stone in the walls of this build. And I have a good amount of stone blocks, as you can see in this chest, but I do need a lot more deep slate. I don't really have too much. I have all this deep slate here that I accidentally silk touched, but this is not the block I want. I want the cobbled deep slate. Let me hit the mines for a little bit, and we can fill up an entire shulker box with deep slate stuff. After about like 20-25 minutes or so, we got an entire shulker box of cobbled deep slate. Now I want to make 1/3 of this box into deep slate bricks, another third into the tiles, and then we're going to leave the last third the way it is. I would also like to use these blocks for the roof, like the crimson stem, the crimson planks, and the purple terracotta. But the issue is I really don't have much crimson stem. I want to see how far this gets me, and if I have to travel to the nether to get some more, I will do that. This should be enough blocks, though, to at least get started. So, let's head over here. Let's throw down our little workstation, and let's start placing some blocks. Actually, there is one more material that I need to go gather. I want some glow lichen. I think the glow lichen will help transition from the deep slate to the cobblestone a little bit better. That didn't take long at all. We have about 4 stacks of glow lichen now. So, let's actually start building. Now, this is going to go from deep slate to stone. So, let me grab a little bit of deep slate blocks, and let's map out where this build is going to go. I'm not sure if this is going to be too big, but I think the towers for now are going to be 7 by 7 at the bottom. And now let's start building these up, and let's add a little bit of texture. This is just the deep slate blocks, but it's looking pretty good. Started with the tiles, moved on to the bricks, ended up with the cobbled deep slate. Now comes the tricky part. Hopefully I can transition this into tuff pretty well, and then into the other stone blocks, of course. I definitely apologize. Somebody is cutting the grass outside, so you can probably hear that in the background. But I definitely like what I have so far. The glow lichen is a nice touch. From here, though, it should be pretty simple. I just have to take this tuff and transition it into stone, which I have done plenty of times all over the place in this world. Of course, it starts raining. It just always does in this world. I don't understand. But it's a little bit difficult for me right now to determine if this is a good height. It just looks really weird, right? It's like super bare. I feel like once I put more decoration around it, I'll know if this is a good height or not. So let me go ahead and start doing that. Let's throw in some spruce and some other accents. Let's see if that looks even kind of good. Oh, that actually looks really nice. Yeah, I'm very comfortable with this. We kind of just need some trapdoors now, but I kind of just need spruce wood in general. So let me just go gather a whole bunch more, because I definitely do not have enough to build the second tower, as I have none. I have 0. I gathered about 2/3 of a shulker box of stripped spruce logs, so let's go put these to good use. The second tower has been constructed. So now all we have to do is add the part in the middle. For starters, let's see if we could just bring a spruce wood beam all the way over here. Actually, I should probably put some oak wood in here too. And let's do this on the other side as well. I think this could look kind of cool. So 5 blocks on either side. I'm gonna have a piece of wood jut out and then an upside down stair. And then one more of those in the middle too, why not? And then we're gonna build these up, maybe 5 blocks or so. Now let's do this on this side as well. Then let's definitely get this archway design back here again. I'm also gonna kick out this part of the building right here, just 1 block rather than 2. Before I actually build any more on this, I wanna bring this down a couple blocks. I feel like this upper building should be a little bit taller. All right, let's take a look at this now. I moved it down a little bit, and I think that looks a little bit better. I think that's a better size for that middle section. Now it's time to figure out what I'm going to do for the roof. Now I think we're going to have 2 different roof shapes. So on the right and the left of this little like middle section that's jutting out, this is just going to go straight up into the middle and then fall back down the other side. Let me go grab the roof blocks and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully I have enough. I really don't want to go to the nether and get more of the crimson stem, but We'll see. So that'll be the roof for each of these sides, and then this middle section, we're just gonna change up the direction of the roof. We're gonna bring it this way. It turns out I actually had enough materials to finish off that roof, and I really like what this looks like. Definitely made a little mob farm under here though, so let's light this up. And now let's throw in the walls for this building in the middle. I put in the front wall of the building. Let's see what it looks like. Looking pretty solid in my opinion. Obviously, way more decoration to do, but I'm definitely digging where I'm at right now. I just thought of something I actually want to add to the tops of each of these towers. I want to try to make like a small flag on each of them. I feel like that'll look really, really cool up here. I gotta be honest, I really did not know what to put on the flags, so I just made two stupid looking smiley faces. And I kind of like them. But if you guys have any other better ideas of what I should put on these flags, let me know. I just think the idea of having a flag on top of each of these is really, really nice, and I think it's going to add to, like, the skyline super well here once everything is all built up. Let's transition now to working on the actual archway here that will let us into the city. Now I'm just going to throw down a floor that'll also act as, like, the ceiling in here. Just going to use some trapdoors, some slabs, and some regular wood, just going all the way across here. Next up, I want to throw in, like, the final few pillars that I didn't have in originally. Now I kind of just have to brainstorm a few ideas, because, I'm really not sure what I'm doing here. I've been messing around for a little while, and I think I'm comfortable with this design. I do need to go collect a little bit more oak wood, though, to finish the other side. I'm also running low on oak leaves, so we can collect those as well. The other side is now completed, so let's move on to the inside here. Where I'm not going to go crazy decorating at the moment, I just want to at least make it look a little less messy in here. And then we will move back to the outside to add the finishing touches to this build. I really just want to add some walls on the inside here, and then just a ceiling to cover everything. I know we kind of have this ceiling, but I want another one that's lower down. And now it looks like this on the inside, so it's very contained. That's kind of all I wanted to do. We can decorate this further a little bit more down the line. I really got to get better at putting windows on my builds as I'm building them, because I always do this. I always have a build that looks mostly good, it's just missing the windows. And then I always dread putting the windows on, like I am right now. I really don't want to do this. So I'm gonna have to use so much scaffolding, go all the way up, back down again, all the way around. It's gonna be such a hassle, but you know what? It'll be worth it. So, let me figure out what kind of window design I want first. I'm thinking we use a couple different window designs. Now, I'm gonna use this one that I've used all over the place on, like, the first floor of the building. Very simple. Just have some upside down stairs, some trapdoors, and a slab, and then fences on the side, and then of course in the middle, that's where the glass is going to go. So very simple window design there. Nothing too complicated, we've done that plenty of times before. Moving up though, it's going to get a little bit different. I want to see what this looks like. Now in order to do the design that I'm thinking of, I actually had to get rid of the stairs and the trapdoors that were right here. See if we put 3 oak leaves, and then surround that with some moss on the sides. Then from there we just use fences, 2 trapdoors, and a slab. Then I was thinking on either side here we could put some azalea bushes. Maybe we can have the leaves like going down a little bit. I actually think I like that a little bit more, just so it's not super uniform. Not really able to put a window right here, so we're just gonna make a leaf box. And then this will be what the final design looks like for the towers. So we have to replicate this all the way around this tower, and then all the way around the tower on the right. But before I do that, let me do the middle section, so then we can just replicate the whole thing all the way around. I think right here, it's going to be really simple since these windows are so small. We're just gonna have a trapdoor as like a window shutter, and then a leaf block, surround that with signs, and I think I'm gonna call it there. Actually, I lied. Let me put a piece of moss on the right, put a sign in front of that, and then we can put an azalea bush. And of course I have to leave a super secret message on one of the signs, as I do every single time I use signs in this world. Now up directly above this section, in these middle 2 windows, I think I just want to do the basic design we did on the first floor. Then we have 2 more windows on either side, and for these windows, we're just going to kind of do the same design I did down here, just with 2 tall windows. And actually I want to add one more thing to these windows that I think will just help a little bit more. I am trying to fly with a torch. What am I doing? My inventory is an absolute mess at the moment, but it's all good. Alright, this is how I work in this game. Just let me go. All you do is just put an extinguished campfire above, and then open a fence gate underneath. And there you go. You got a little, like, cover for your window. And now with this done, I have the window decorations down for this entire building. We just have to replicate this all the way around. So let me go ahead and do that. and I'll be right back. Alright, so the gatehouse is now officially completed. Now, I will be doing a run-through with shaders on of everything I've built today at the end of the video. That's why I'm not using shaders at the moment, but even without shaders, the building still looks pretty solid. It is massive, though. It's a lot bigger than everything else I've built, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted this city to look very grand, at least compared to everything I've built so far. But next up, before we start gathering materials and before we start building anything else, I need more shulker boxes. So I'm currently down to 5. I distinctly remember having like 3 more, but I have no idea where they went. I looked at all my chests and I cannot find them. So I kind of just want to go to the end. I want to fly around and smack up a whole bunch of shulkers. I'm not sure how many shulker boxes I want to shoot for, but I'm just going to go do this for a little while and we'll see how many we get. Now, before I go ahead and actually build up any of these buildings, I want to go ahead and figure out the pathway design that we're going to use for this entire city. And I've kind of come up with a block palette over here. We have a whole bunch of granite, we have some polished granite, some bricks, some regular terracotta, a couple different kinds of dirt, and some mud. Also, can't forget the spruce buttons, just to, you know, spruce things up a little bit, I guess. Yeah, my bad. That was not good. I've carved out a rather small section, but this might be enough of the pathway for us today. If anything, I'll just, you know, cut out more and everything. But let's start throwing down these blocks now and see what I can come up with. And I think something like this looks pretty good. I tried to make it so that, like, the middle section is mostly dirt and mud, and then it'll gradually get to the granite on either side. So let me throw this design across this strip here. I made a small tweak here to the path design. Instead of having polished granite, I threw in the bricks instead. And I think I like what this looks like a little bit more. The last thing I want to do right now is I just want to throw some spruce buttons around this pathway. And this is going to be essentially the extent of the pathway that we make today. Now, I will be decorating this a lot more once we throw up a bunch of buildings. Speaking of these buildings, though, I think we should get started. And I'm going to time-lapse these, considering there hasn't really been that many time-lapses in this video so far. And I really don't think I'm going to have enough materials on me at the moment to complete all of these buildings. So I will most likely be back with some kind of progress report, but enjoy the time lapse. Here's a quick progress update. I have finished 2 of the buildings, and I think they look pretty good. I like the size, I like the style. I think it's gonna look super nice once we get a lot more of these all around. But as you can see, I'm running a little bit low on spruce wood and also on dark oak wood, if I can find wherever that shulker box is. I only have just under a stack of dark oak wood. So I definitely need to gather up both of those types of wood and also some oak, because I think I'm gonna use oak for the walls of one of these last 2 buildings. So let me go chop down a whole bunch of trees over here, and then we'll be back to building. After I completed the last building, I wanted to go around adding a couple more different decoration pieces to this area. So I built up a couple carts, nothing too wild, but we have some moss on this one cart and also some copper on another one. I wanted to add a little bit more to the pathway as well. Obviously, eventually this is going to be a massive pathway winding throughout this entire area, but just for now, I wanted to show kind of the directions it's going to go. And lastly, I wanted to add a couple market stands. These are a little bit different from the ones that I added in last episode in the farming village, but these are heavily inspired by another Minecraft YouTuber called Disruptive Builds. I'll leave his link down in the description below, but in one of his recent videos, he was working on a village and he built up some market stands, and I liked what they looked like, so I used his as like the basis for my design. But now that that's finished, let's take a quick look at where we started today and what the build looks like now. At the start of this video, this was just a regular looking vanilla Minecraft village. But 99 days later, all right, not 100, I did this under 100 days. 99 days later, it now looks like this. I really can't wait to add more buildings to this city. I think it's gonna look really sweet once we add a whole bunch more. And maybe even like another castle down the line. I think that could look really cool here. But I'm very happy with the builds for today, especially the gatehouse. That turned out way better than I thought it was going to. And I hope that you guys also like the builds for this episode. Next time, though, we will be tackling the interior. I want to actually make this city useful to me, so I'm going to be adding a bunch of automatic farms on the inside of all these buildings. Thank you guys so much for the recent support on this series. It's been wild. You guys really are the best. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.